going on YouTube? Quick update today. Let me pull my screen over and see what we're doing. Alright, so things are looking really good for AMC. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Essentially, we're sitting at the very end of a corrective pattern here. So we floored out at 31. And then we held a even higher support at 35. So we have a strong support zone at 35. There is a gap here that I'm a little bit worried about. But essentially, things are looking really good to start seeing massive motive waves up. So essentially, what I suspect to see is the continuation of whales and hedge funds shifting long, which will apply a lot of pressure to the over-leveraged derivative chain. Now it's over-leveraged to the bearish side, meaning market makers are hedged bearishly to deal with the downtrend that we've been in. And it also just crushed the call implied volatility, so calls are very cheap, or selling puts is very lucrative on the other side of that coin. So essentially what we'll see is there's going to be a shift in what the whales and the hedge funds are doing. They're going to shift from selling calls and buying puts to buying calls and selling puts. So they're going to switch to the bullish position. As they do that, that'll apply massive amounts of pressure to the derivative chain. We saw the same thing happen in Tesla when it went from 40 to 900, and it all stems from that same situation where you get perma bears and perma bulls. So you over leverage to the downside, create this preferred entry where the derivative chain is way out of whack, and then as you switch back long, essentially it squeezes all of the bears who did not switch sides. So what we should see is a nice massive impulse going into the first couple weeks of August. We will have some corrections. Obviously, that's the ebbs and flows of stock, but essentially my read is that the tides have shifted and we are now going long. So good news on all of that. Let's zoom in a little bit. I'll get to today's numbers. Essentially, yesterday, as suspected, we hit the bearish pivot zone, but we didn't pivot down, which is awesome. We held it for the whole day. So today, I suspect that this becomes support, which means we should be testing into the 45 zone today. Breaking through 45 is pretty awesome because we'll go right to 49, but that would have to happen immediately, meaning we have to get there before the middle of the day. There is a couple trend lines that I'm worried about, specifically 42 at 0.17, this intersects, so I'm assuming that we'll actually do one of these and then have the chance to come up. That's the preferred for right now. I will update that if that changes. I'm loving the pre-market price action though. Things are looking really, really good. I'm stoked. So next stock, what did we want? Let me pull up my Twitter real quick. I'll talk about the NASDAQ and Tesla. So essentially, same thing with the NASDAQ as yesterday. I said it would be a red to green day. We ended up pulling out red to green. Today we're sitting at an all-time high again. I suspect the same thing happens. I suspect that more money goes back into the big NASDAQ. So essentially, China stocks are doing really, really bad. People want to keep their money in the market though. Where are they going to put it? They're going to put it into what they think is the best possible return, which would be the NASDAQ according to the past couple years. It looks a little bit overbought in my opinion, but that's it's a bull market. Everything looks overbought. I suspect we see at least another month of bullish pushing in the NASDAQ. I'm going to zoom out a little bit on the NASDAQ. Essentially this was our correction, and now we have a nice push up. You see we broke to all-time highs, so there's really not much more resistance. I would be comfortable to say that we should be able to hold all-time highs for a little bit. That'll depend largely on the two narratives though. One is the Delta narrative, which we know is going to come back around as soon as COVID cases pick up, so that'll be around September, October, when the weather drops. They'll start selling that fear narrative again. The second narrative is the inflation narrative, but it seems like they kind of have that one under tight lock, if that makes sense. Jay Powell seems to be very good at saying a lot without saying anything. So the next stock we wanted to get into was our babe Tesla. Tesla beat earnings yesterday. I suspect that it'll sell off today. profit taking oversold and then see a nice little recovery. So I have these little zones in for Tesla. The first one's down to 652, 650 to 642, and then resistance zone would be up there at 700. So essentially for Tesla, I do expect to see a red to green move today based off their earnings play. There's a lot of froth in the options chain that needs to be worked out though, and a lot of people made money on earnings, so it will have some profit taking is my read. Next stock is, which one did you guys want? Someone said GameStop. GameStop's going to be the same thing as AMC. Essentially, I called it the other day. I made a post about it. It was the most over-leveraged derivative chain I've ever seen. It was like a 4-to-1 put-to-call ratio, and all the puts were at the money or out of the money, so it's pretty obvious that the people who sold those puts, right, they're going to want to drive the stock price up. So I actually went long on GameStop a couple weeks ago when I posted about that, and we have had a nice big rise since then. Hi, Brooke. What are you doing? Alright, guys, that's going to do it for my day. I'm going to go let my dogs out and get some coffee for the morning. I'm going to go shower and shave, too. I'm a little disheveled. Anyways, cheers. Thanks for stopping by, as always. Let me know in the comments section what we should change or make better.